Good evening and welcome to the 2021 Motorsport Australia State Awards for New South Wales and the ACT. A very special thank you to our sponsors, Shannons Insurance. Thank you for your ongoing support. My name's Cameron van den Dungen and I'll be taking you through all of the celebrations tonight where we acknowledge some wonderful people in motorsport here in Australia. Before we get started though, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land upon which we are all gathering tonight. I'd like to pay my respects to elders past, present and those emerging. Well, I'd love for us to be meeting in person here tonight, but the reality is the pandemic is still with us. One thing I want you to remain comfortable with though, is that the team at Motorsport Australia are working tirelessly to ensure that live event motorsport can continue throughout 2022 and into 2023. Now tonight we're going to acknowledge so many winners and so many people that stood out amongst the crowd in motorsport of New South Wales and the ACT. But I wanted to take a quick moment off the top of tonight to acknowledge everyone's contribution, whether you were pit crew, a competitor, a volunteer official, whether you were a loved one coming along for moral support. No matter what effort you put in, I'd like to thank and acknowledge you for all of your efforts in 2021. And just know that whilst we can't celebrate all of you tonight, we do appreciate all of you. Now, before we start handing out awards and making those acknowledgements, let's go first to Motorsport Australia President Andrew Fraser.
Thanks, Cameron, and good to be with you tonight. I also want to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands on which we gather tonight and acknowledge their original and enduring kinship. Can I also acknowledge John Thompson as the State Council Chair and all the other State Council representatives and State panel members. I also want to acknowledge New South Wales Elected Director Graham Emerton, who's also a Vice President of Motorsport Australia, and also Coral Taylor as another New South Wales-based Director who's joining in tonight. Most importantly, I want to acknowledge the work of everyone who's part of tonight, and indeed everyone across the motorsport community in New South Wales who worked so hard when circumstances allowed to start up motorsport last year and to keep it going when it was possible, when the rules permitted. We are all looking forward to a future where there's much more motorsport taking place in 2022. But for that effort, for those in New South Wales and indeed across the ACT, I do want to acknowledge that as we gather here tonight for these awards. We all know why motorsport's important to us, why we love the sport, but we did do some work in the last year with EY to prove up the economic contribution of motorsport. And that's important for us to hear because these are important stats. So when we did the work, the value of motorsport in New South Wales was around $830 million in economic value, in gross economic output. And that supports around 4,500 jobs. So when you convert it into economic value and the jobs it supports, it's not just important for us to know about the sport, it's also important for us to know about the economic contribution it makes. So awards nights like tonight aren't possible without the support of our partners. And of course, tonight's awards for the 2021 year are supported by Shannons Insurance. Shannons Insurance have been a really long-standing and loyal partner for motorsport in this country. They've stood by us over the last couple of years of pandemic, and we're really grateful for their support tonight and into the future. And we look forward to working with them on many things well into the future. So tonight's also an opportunity just to mention a few things from the board table at Motorsport Australia about the sport in general. A big focus for us as we look to the year ahead is on facilities. The reality is that without the sort of facilities that we have in many places and we want to have in many places, our sport can't function. Other sports can obviously get a bit of relatively level dirt and a ball and get a game underway, but for our sport, we need something more than that. And so making sure that we protect our existing facilities, that we get the sort of investment and upgrades to existing facilities, and most importantly, plan for new facilities for the future is a real focus for us. That's requiring us to work more closely with governments at all levels, whether from councils or state and at a federal level. And that's something that we've been working hard on over the last little while and finding that we are getting more success, getting more funding into the sport from governments and motorsport getting its fair share. That's something that we want to keep working at, and that's a state-by-state proposition. And so we are looking to work with all governments on that front. For us, when it comes to working with government to get that funding into our sport, then government obviously has expectations. They've got their own requirements, and the community has its own expectations. And one area where we are seeing a lot of change is on sustainability. We need to make sure that as a sport that we are not just part of the problem, but indeed, I think we can be part of the solution. If you look at things like safety, where the innovations in motorsport have driven a lot of the safety uplifts that have then flowed through into the broader car industry, into the cars that we all drive each day, then also the same story can be said about sustainability, driving efficiency, driving some of the world's most efficient engines, and the technology that's been developed in motorsport, both in Australia and globally, in things like hybrid technology that you now see in mainstream automobiles and cars. There's a role for motorsport here to be part of the solution. But we also need to look at what that means for the sport more generally. I don't envisage a future anytime soon where all motorsport is electrified, but I also think we can't sit here and pretend that things won't change. So for me, a big part of that is about sustainable fuels, how we can keep the essence of motorsport. And that means the sights, the sounds, and even the smell of the motorsport that we all love. And so looking at partnerships around where we can be part of the solution for finding more sustainable fuels to meet that sustainability challenge that we can see coming down the pipeline at us is a big focus for us strategically as we look ahead. For us, one of the other things that is a real focus is on the officials front, on the participants front. Everywhere I go, in every track, whether it's at Morgan Park or at a hill climb or at a supercars event, the same story about I hear from our volunteers and from participants. How do we get more people involved? How do we get young people involved? How do we get more women and girls involved? And so for all of you, that starts with those of you who are interested in the sport and giving your time to it, but it also falls to the board and to the management team to make sure that we are encouraging people from all walks of life. As I said, more women and girls, and also people from different backgrounds. I just want to make a particular shout out to the Racing Together initiative, which some of you may have heard about, an all-Indigenous race team supported by Gary and Monique Connolly. Many of you will know Gary has been a long-time servant of motorsport in this country, and that initiative is the sort of example, the sort of undertaking that really provides the leadership to increase the tent for people to be involved in motorsport at all levels. Finally, a quick word on safety. We all have an obligation to ourselves, whether we're on the track or on a circuit or in whatever form of motorsport, the safety obligation we owe to each other to try and make our sport, which we know the excitement and thrill that comes from the very essence of motorsport. We've got to make sure that we use all that we can to be the safest we can be. So I like to talk about managed risk that's fit for purpose for motorsport, whether that's, as I said, on a circuit or in another environment. And that means having the right leadership, having the right technology and the right rules in place to make sure that we can make motorsport as safe as it can be. We are making some changes on that front, more changes to come. And as ever, that's the first obligation for those of us at Motorsport Australia. Finally, as we look to 2022, well, it feels like for a long time we've all been talking about when normal will return. Well, maybe there is no such thing as normal anymore, but as we do look ahead, we can be optimistic. We can see that there will be the capacity for more events, for a return to something that approximates normal. And for all of us who love to get to a circuit, to get out in a forest or to hurl along a desert track, that's not too far away. That's happening now, and hopefully 2022 sees a lot more of it happening. I'm personally optimistic about what the year will bring for our sport, from whether that's the return of the Grand Prix finally to, at the other end of the spectrum, one of the victims of the pandemic, of course, has been our National Auto Test Championships. So this year, looking forward to seeing Motorcana, Carnacross, Hill Climb all back on the agenda, as well as the state championships. So as we look ahead, reasons to be optimistic and reasons, as ever, for us to keep our eye on the ball and make sure that we do lead well and that we do keep motorsport strong in this country. Finally, to each and every person in the room, thanks for what you do. Thanks for what you contribute to the sport that we all love. It's the people in the room tonight who do make up the sport, who make motorsport happen. I'm personally Grateful for the ability to be involved, and I'm grateful to all of you for what you contribute. So congratulations to all the award winners, and have a good evening. Back to you, Cameron.
Thank you, Andrew. I agree. It's going to be a huge year in motorsport coming up. From our Motorsport Australia President, let's now go to the New South Wales and ACT State Council Chair, John Thompson.
G'day everyone, and welcome to our Motorsport Australia 2021 New South Wales State Virtual Awards presentation. I'm John Thompson. I'm the Chair of the New South Wales State Council of Motorsport Australia. On behalf of Motorsport Australia and the Council, I'd like to thank you all for being a part of the presentation this year. Clearly, we would have loved to have had you all in the same room to enjoy the evening and the camaraderie that's such an important part of any sport, but particularly motorsport. Alas, the COVID pandemic turned that on its head again, as it's done with so many things in our lives over the past 2 years. They've been a very challenging couple of years for all of us and for sport of all kinds. That's no understatement. As a society, we've had to weather lots of difficulties with COVID, and in motorsport, we've also had our fair share of challenges. But I'd like to salute and thank the efforts of our CEO, Eugene Rocca, and his team, as well as the board of Motorsport Australia, in ensuring the organisation has been able to survive and stay strong through difficult times, probably the most difficult times in the 70-year history of our organisation. They've had to make some very tough and at times painful decisions to ensure our sport has survived, and as a result, it's now ready to get back on track, quite literally, in 2022. In many instances, it's been nigh on impossible for events to run over the last 2 years because of the lockdowns and many restrictions. Some events were able to run in times between those lockdowns, but largely we've been starved of our normal appetite for the sport we all love. Still, behind the scenes, all of you have ensured that the sport has been able to go on. Many of you have continued to volunteer your time to help keep clubs and events afloat. Some have been fortunate enough to run in and run events. So tonight we come together to celebrate the efforts of those who have given their time and their hours and effort to run events, and also to the competitors who have enjoyed success in taking part in some of those events that have been able to run in the last 12 months. So can I raise a glass and propose a toast to all our award winners tonight, competitors and officials alike, and let's hope that in 2023 we'll be able to get back on track and get together and celebrate our award winners in the same room this time next year. So cheers to you all, and please enjoy the awards ahead. Thank you.
We start proceedings with an annual tradition at State Award ceremonies by welcoming our newly affiliated clubs for 2021. So on behalf of Motorsport Australia, a big welcome to 2 clubs joining the Motorsport Australia fold: Tesla Owners Club of Australia and Uralla Auto Club Incorporated. Staying with our amazing clubs, I am delighted to acknowledge 3 Motorsport Australia affiliated clubs for having reached significant milestones. Both the Guyra and District Automotive Club Incorporated and Sapphire City Motorsports Club Incorporated celebrated 10 years, while Morris Minor Picnic Club Incorporated reached an impressive 25 years of operation. Now it's time to recognise the first set of individuals who were victorious in their respective state championships. We begin with some of our speed and auto test winners, and first off the list is the 2021 New South Wales Motorcarna champion, Corinne East Johnston.
Good evening, and thank you so much. It's very exciting to receive this award after missing out the year before. Obviously, the last couple of years have been a little bit disappointing with not being able to actually compete very often. We've actually missed out on our national championships for the last 2 years, so that's been very disappointing. But a huge shout out to all of the clubs that have actually put on our state rounds for us. There's obviously a hell of a lot of extra paperwork that has to go into it these days with COVID. So really, as I said, a huge shout out to all of the clubs, all of the officials, all of the timekeepers that mean that we can get out there and have some fun, whenever we get an opportunity at the moment. And lastly, massive thanks to Dad, Philip East, for all of the work and effort he puts into getting all of our cars ready and making sure that they're running to the best of their ability. So thanks so much, Dad. Wouldn't have happened without you. Cheers.
Congratulations on yet another title, Corinne. Next up, we head to the 2021 New South Wales Hill Climb Championship, which proved to be a thrilling contest between the top two contenders. But in the end, nothing could separate our joint hill climb champions for 2021, Dean Ty and Dean Amos. A huge congratulations to both drivers for producing another fantastic and highly entertaining season in the Hill Climb Championship. Now, it gives me great pleasure to welcome our 2021 Motorsport Australia New South Wales Rally Sprint Championship winner. It's Troy Hayworth. Troy has sent us through the following video message thanking his supporters. Over to you, Troy.
Hey everyone, thanks for letting me be part of this great event, and being New South Wales State Rallycross Champion is a great honour. First of all, I'd like to thank Mum and Dad. Without their support, I probably wouldn't still be doing it. They've been really awesome. They got me into it 5 years ago, and we've been doing it. We've had a really good season, last couple of seasons, 3 years actually, so the Salika's been going great. But yeah, thanks to Rally Raceway and all my fellow competitors. Without those guys and the helpers, we wouldn't have our racing that we all love to do. So thanks to those guys. Thanks to GCAT Any Tyres, and also thanks to my wife for letting me do this for so long. I'm still going to keep doing it though. And but yeah, thank you everyone, and also have a great 2022 racing season. Thanks.
Thank you, Troy, and well done. Unfortunately, the Motorsport New South Wales Off-Road Championship and Motorsport Australia New South Wales Rally Championships did not take place in 2021 due to COVID-19. So we moved to our New South Wales ACT Super Sprint Championship, where there were 8 class champions throughout the year. Our first class champion is Type 1S Racing, Sports Racing and Clubman's outright winner, Roger Hurd. Next up is the Type 2R Group 2F Prod Sports outright winner, Andre Tan, who has kindly supplied us with the following video message.
Thank you for this award. I'd like to thank everyone that was involved in making the 2021 Super Sprint Championship happen in what was obviously a trying year. Special mention to the Super Sprint panel, the hosting car clubs, officials, volunteers and fellow drivers. I'd also like to thank my wife for her support. So thanks again guys, and I'll see you on the track soon.
Thank you, Andre. Now, the next class champion is Type 2S Group 2B Prod Sports outright winner, Neville Shears, who has also provided us with a video.
Hi, my name's Neville Shears, winner of 2B Prod Sports category, New South Wales Super Sprint. Just like to say thank you very much. My first year of Super Sprinting, New South Wales. Got to say it was mega run considering the circumstances of last year. All the officials, all the volunteers and my fellow competitors. We had so much fun, Michelle and I. We'd like to say big thank you to CRD Racing in Sydney, who prepared this great beast that we have here. And we sure did have a whole lot of fun this year. Also a big shout out to Bob Welsh for helping me out with a few of those late entries. Appreciate that, Bob. Saved my skin there a few times, mate, so I appreciate that. And congratulations to all my other competitors too, because we know how tough a year it was to try and make it to the track for each round. So thank you to those guys, great bunch of people. Thanks again.
Thank you, Neville. Now it's time to acknowledge all the remaining class winners for the 2021 New South Wales ACT Championship. Our Type 3R Group 3J Improved Production outright winner is Alan Marin. Type 3S Group 3D Sports Sedan outright winner, Malcolm Michel. Type RR Road Registered outright winner, Marek Tomaszewski. Type RM Road Registered Modified outright winner Oleg Kravets. Type TA Time Attack outright winner Nick Callis. Well done on a fantastic year all. It has certainly been a great honour to celebrate some of our winners tonight, but there are still many more to come. Before we continue our proceedings, let's take a look at some of the highlights from Australian motorsport in 2021. Last year certainly had its challenges. However, we still got to experience some amazing moments throughout the year. We can't wait to see what's in store for us in 2022. Continuing with our proceedings, we now head to the Motorsport Australia State Motor Racing Championships, where we had a number of champions across their respective categories. First up, it's our 2021 New South Wales Improved Production over 2 litre champion, Trevin Spiteri.
Hi everyone, I'm Trevin Spiteri and I race car 156 in Improved Production. I suppose I just want to start by thanking the people behind the scenes that have kept us racing over the last couple of years. It has been a tough time, and it doesn't go unnoticed the work that these people put in to keep us all on track. Starting with the volunteers who turn up each race meet and keep it safe, and keep it happy and fun. The organisers, as well as Motorsport Australia, for all the work you do behind the scenes in organising the events, as well as the IPRA committee. Without the work these teams do behind the scenes, none of this would be possible. I suppose in saying that, the category sponsors as well, without the financial input they provide to the category, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So thank you, starting with Ravenol, Midas and V-Sport. Thank you. I think anybody sitting on this presentation knows that it takes more than the monkey between the seat and the wheel and a fast car to go racing, let alone try and win a championship. So I guess I really just want to take this opportunity to thank those people because really they're the reason I'm here. Starting with my family, Michelle and the boys come out to every race meet. I don't think they've missed one in 2 years. You know, it keeps it fun, keeps me wanting to come back and do it. So thank you, and you guys are awesome. Good friend and mechanic Andrew. We brought Andrew on board a couple of years ago to kind of help us with the mechanical aspects of the car. But I guess, you know, a key point here is that we brought him on as a mechanic, but we found an amazing friendship through Motorsport. So that's incredible. Let alone the job Andrew does in keeping the wheels turning for us. So thank you, mate. Special mention to a couple of people. Phil Armour at Armour Motorsports. You know, I keep telling people the best thing we did was put an M1 Motec in that car, and that was at your advice, Phil. There's nothing that he can't sort out when it comes to the ECUs and the tunes, and he's bailed me out on more than one occasion. You know, I attribute a lot of the success we've had in this season to Phil's constant support and guidance. Chris from Meek Automotive and Darren from Dashport. You know, what can I say? These guys are masters of their domains. There's nothing in the Mitsubishi world that they can't sort out, a part they can't find. And there has been some crazy last minute requests that have come up in this season alone, and those both those workshops have you know, constantly delivered. So thank you. Last but not least, I guess my dad. You know, people on the presentation probably or might recognise the car. It does a lot of Ks, particularly in the state rounds. It's double entered in improved production and sport sedans. But I guess, you know, the key point here is Dad had to make a fairly big sacrifice in his own championship to allow me to compete in mine. So, you know, there was certain rounds where he couldn't race to allow me to go racing. So thanks, Dad. You know, I wouldn't have been able to take this championship without that sacrifice. I guess on to 2022. Look, we will be back, both in improved production and sport sedans. We're going to be fighting hard to try and back up the championship. So, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing what the improved production over 2 litre guys can bring to the table.
Sticking with improved production, our under 2 litre champion for 2021 was Kurt McCready. Let's hear from Kurt now.
Hi everyone, my name's Kurt McCready, and I'd like to take this opportunity to say thanks to a few people. While it looks like we had another challenging season, COVID certainly played its part and kept us on our toes all year. It definitely had its moments of stress and pressure, but it's great to say we had a fantastic outcome. Firstly, I'd like to say thanks to the IPRA New South Wales Club, for without a hard-working committee, in particular Mark, Gary and Ryan, as well as many more, we wouldn't have the opportunity to enjoy our hobby and our passion for motorsport. Next, I'd like to thank Dean Chapman and Doreen Butchers for giving myself and the IPRA New South Wales members the continued opportunity to race and have fun. Next, I'd like to thank my personal sponsors, AGM Engineering, Mike Hughes Finance, and Jenkins Performance Engines. And lastly, I'd like to thank Mum and Dad, Gail and Anthony, for their continued effort and support. I had a lot of fun racing in 2021 and I can't wait to do it again. Cheers.
Thank you, Kurt. Next up, we have New South Wales Supersports Championship, and the winner of Class 1 was Bradley Shields. Winning the New South Wales Supersports Class 2 was Darren Barlow. Not only did Darren come away with the Class 2 victory, he was also the 2021 New South Wales Supersports outright champion. Congratulations, Darren.
G'day everyone, Darren Barlow here. Absolute pleasure to accept this award today. Massive thank you to Motorsport Australia for putting on the championship last year. Also like to thank all of the promoters for organising all of the races, all of the officials for all the awesome work that they do. Fellow competitors, great year to get out there and race. Super Sports Championship's gone from strength to strength in recent years, so we had record numbers in this past year, which I absolutely enjoyed competing with all of those fellow drivers. And also a massive thank you to my team, Garth Walden Racing Australia. Did a wonderful job preparing the car and getting it ready for every single event, and managed to bring home the championship, which was really, really good. Also some additional partners that assisted through the year: Simpson Race Gear, Greg Yard, thank you, Trevor Birrell Engines, Race Engines, and Adam Proctor as well from Stall Cars Australia and AP Racing. The wife and family, Dad, thank you very much, and real pleasure to be able to accept this award tonight. Thank you all very much. Look forward to going racing in 2022. See ya.
Our next state circuit championship is the New South Wales Formula Race Cars, and the outright winner is Greg Muddle. Greg has provided us with this video for his title.
Hi, my name is Greg Muddle and I'm the New South Wales Motor Race Champion for Formula Cars in 2021. 2021 was the year in which we were glad to do any motor racing at all, and so this is a real bonus. I'd like to thank two people in particular: my dad, John Muddle, for the many years of help and advice that he's given me, and Rod Baker for his help on the tools with my car. Motor racing's a privilege for all of us. It's a great joy, but we can't do it without the many people who give up their time voluntarily to help us. And particularly, I'd like to thank the race organisers and officials in New South Wales for the tremendous work that they do. We can't go racing without you. Thank you very much.
Well said, Greg. The next individual we will be celebrating is the 2021 New South Wales Formula V 1600 champion, Aaron Lee.
Hi everyone, I'd just like to thank the Formula V Association, all the officials and volunteers for doing what they do to make us able to race. Thank my father Clyde Lee for all the effort he puts into my racing, and Kane Alden for coming down to every meeting, giving us a hand and making sure that I'm strapped in safely. Big thank you to Evolution Racing Team, Logitech Gaming, Bass Hill Electrical and Shannons Insurance for all their support. Without them I wouldn't be able to do what I do. Thank you very much.
We'll stay with the same category for the next award with the 2021 New South Wales Formula V 1200 champion, that being Stephen Butcher.
Hi, Steve Butcher here. How you going? I'd like to thank Motorsport Australia for the trophy tonight. Also the officials and the other competitors, in particular the track organisers. It was a tough year to try to get things happening. Appreciate all that. We got some races in. Last year was my 30th year in Formula V racing, and my since 1991, and my 8th state title since 1993. Hoping for many more once again. Thanks. See you next year. Bye.
Well done, Stephen. The next state championship we'll look at is the New South Wales Formula Ford champion, Zach Bates.
Hello everyone, Zach here. That was a big year. I just want to thank a few people quickly. So I'd like to thank Brett Francis from BF Racing, Dad for all the hard work that he put in this year, everyone who made the series possible, all the organisers, and everyone who made some awesome racing throughout the year. Cheers, thank you.
Also enjoying success in New South Wales Formula Ford Championship was 1600 champion Scott Tidyman.
Hi guys, just wanted to say a huge thank you to Motorsport Australia, the Formula Ford Association guys and girls for an awesome year racing. Highlight I'd have to say is the supercar round. It was pretty awesome racing in front of those guys, and I hope we get to do it again soon. To my competitors and race mates, thank you. Awesome year, really fair racing. You know, no rubbing, no wheels torn off, just a lot of fun and what it's all about. And really looking forward to 2022, and hopefully we can back it up with another win. Obviously to my wife and my kids who let me go away and do what I love doing and spend hours and hours in here in the garage or at work in the workshop, just trying to keep this thing running. Couldn't do it without them. And obviously the team at the track who just had plenty of late nights swapping engines and keeping this thing running. Again, couldn't do it without them. The biggest thanks I think has to go to all the officials, the flaggies, the volunteers, the scrutineers. I mean, a very, very difficult year to go racing. Put themselves at risk and let us do what we love doing. So shout out to you guys. You deserve all the trophies, not us. We do it whether we get a trophy or not, but we love doing it. But you guys must clearly love doing what you do, to turn up every weekend, work week in, week out, and appreciate it. But on to 2022, and hopefully we have another great year. Thank you.
Congratulations, Zach and Scott, on your success. Next, we celebrate New South Wales Sports Sedan Champion, and for the second time tonight, congratulate Bradley Shields. Fantastic work, Bradley. And our final award for the Motor Race Championships is RX8 Cup Champion Ryan Gorton. Well done to all of our competitors for another impressive year on track. And of course, motorsport is what it is thanks to the thousands of people who dedicate their time and effort to volunteer as officials week in and week out. With that said, it's now time to acknowledge those who have made a significant contribution to motorsport in New South Wales and the ACT, not just in 2021, but for a long period of time. First up is the Kevin Bartlett Award. Named in honour of the highly successful two-time Australian Drivers' Championship winner, Kevin Bartlett. The award celebrates the most outstanding circuit driver of the year. And the recipient of the 2021 Kevin Bartlett Award is Tom Shaw. At just 19 years old, Tom has, in his second season of a one-make series, progressed from running last to coming second in the championship this year. He only learnt to drive a manual car when he started racing 2 years ago. He managed a faultless race in the Bathurst 6-hour production race this year, doing the maximum amount of driving in the race. He has had no on-track incidents over the 2 seasons he has been racing, with no contact in a one-make series when overtaking up to 4 cars in any one race. He has also raced a few endurance races, also with much success. Tom took on the role as a volunteer as media manager for the RX8 Cup Series to help promote the category on social media and through the website. He has kept the point score and made videos for fellow drivers in the series to promote them. Tom has a very high respect for the regulations and standards set in motorsport and is held with high regard by his fellow competitors. His personal achievements showcase his advancing skill and focus in the sport as a driver. He has also been tested twice by the factory Hyundai TCR team for the Young Driver program, with an invitation to race for the team. Tom's overall ability to race well and be fast has grown rapidly in 2021 and has netted him the runner-up in the series amongst some much more experienced drivers. Tom has a very high standard of presentation personally and with the race car he drives, again setting an example for his fellow drivers to follow. Tom has been kind enough to submit his acceptance video.
Hey everyone, Tom Shaw here, driver of the number 21 RX8 Cup Series car. I'd just like to say a massive thank you to everyone at Motorsport Australia for awarding me the 2021 Kevin Bartlett Award. 2021 was a really successful season for myself and my team. Racing in the RX8 Cup Series, we managed to finish second in the championship, but also working with RX8 Cup and everyone behind the scenes. I've really enjoyed doing all the social medias and the Facebooks and the YouTube pages, and to receive an award like this, it really pays back for all that hard work. So a massive thank you to all my drivers, competitors and all the staff at RX8 Cup. It's all thanks to you guys for helping me through the year. So to finish off, I'd just like to say another thank you to everyone at Motorsport Australia. It's an absolute honour to receive this award. It comes as a complete shock, but to win the 2021 Kevin Bartlett Award, I couldn't be more happier. A lot of hard work's paid off, not only in the car, but through everything that I've done for the category, and to be recognised, it's an absolute honour, so thank you so much.
Thank you and terrific work, Tom. We look forward to watching your progression in years to come. Moving on to the next major individual award. It's time to announce the Coral Taylor Award winner, which is awarded to a New South Wales or ACT-based woman for their outstanding achievement in motorsport. The Coral Taylor Award winner for 2021 is Debbie Quirk. Deb has been a long-serving member of car clubs including Wagga District Car Club and more recently the Light Car Club of Canberra for over 30 years. Deb has performed in a variety of roles including as clerk of course for events for Wagga District Car Club and more recently as an event secretary for the Light Car Club of Canberra and for award-winning events such as the Monaro Stages Rally. Deb runs a tight ship as event secretary, most notably for the Monaro Stages Rally. This rally has enjoyed incredible success as an event in the ACT New South Wales region, and Deb's contribution to the success of this event cannot be overstated. Competitors and officials alike marvel at her ongoing passion and dedication, her attention to detail and strict adherence to processes, and unwavering willingness in assisting competitors to attend and compete at events. With an officiating career spanning a period that few others can match, her ongoing dedication to the sport and its people is to be applauded. Her passion for making events a reality is unwavering, and in particular, she has worked tirelessly to make events happen during the difficult 2020 season. We will now hear from Debbie as she sent in the following video message.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to say that it is this evening an honour and a privilege to have been nominated for the Coral Taylor Award for 2021 and to have received that award for my services to motorsport. Particularly, I think that from a woman that I regard as a leader for other women in motorsport and whose own achievements serve as an inspiration to the women that whatever roles we take on in motorsport. I've been involved in motorsport in rallying for almost 30 years at club level, regional and state events. Had roles such as clerk of course, secretary, media officer, even just doing a control or something for an event. I think it's important to say that whatever roles you take on in motorsport, it's not autonomous in nature. There's always a great team behind you, sharing responsibilities, helping each other and conducting the event in the best possible way that we can. From the first events that I directed with Wagga District Car Club in 1994 and onwards, there's always been a fantastic team of club members that have supported me in every role that I've taken on. In 2017, I started a journey with Monaro Stages with Dave Ballard as our leader in the event. It's true to say that Dave is actually surrounded by women for the Monaro Stages, myself, Kim Winks, and in the last couple of years some new team members in Carolyn Jemison, Annika Ferguson, Janine Webster. Most of the time I think, Dave likes to let us think that we're in control, or perhaps it's the other way round, we let him think that he's in control. However, together we've made a great team. 2021 Monaro Stages probably provided some of the biggest challenges we've ever had to face. From, COVID postponements from October and November, an ARC inclusion in December, which at the last call didn't kind of happen due to an extreme weather event, which saw us had to turn the event around in about a week. And how we did it, I'm not sure, but this small team pulled together and we got the event off the ground, and the officials and competitors that supported us rode those challenges with us, and in the end we managed a pretty damn good event, I think. There's so many people to thank that have have supported me. Two particular people that I'd like to mention are my children, Jay and Lisa. Over 30 years, I think they've taken a fair bit from all the involvement that I've had in motorsport, but I'm pleased to say that I think that they've developed the same sort of passion that I have for rallying, and found their own way in the motorsport realm. In closing, I'd just like to say that I think there's definitely a place for women in motorsport, that the involvement of women is growing, whether it be as officials, management, competitors, whatever role they may choose. I think we're fortunate that we are involved in a sport that we are treated as equals, and I think there's a future in motorsport for women. So on behalf of all women in motorsport and all those that have supported me, I'd like to say accept this award and say to the women in motorsport, keep going, keep giving it your best and keep giving it that contribution. Thank you also to Motorsport Australia for conducting this online presentation. Look forward to the time that we can possibly do it face to face again. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Debbie, and thank you for your contributions. It's time to celebrate our Service Award winners for 2021. In no particular order, please put your hands together in your lounge rooms for Dennis Willis. Dennis Willis has committed to serving motorsport for nearly 30 years as a volunteer official in a number of roles. Initially, it was a scrutineer, which involved the annual trek to Mount Panorama for a considerable number of years, as well as the Grand Prix in Melbourne on a couple of occasions. On elevation to a silver scrutineer, he continued to serve at a variety of state and national events and remains a current silver scrutineer. In June 2013, Dennis commenced as a bronze steward and continued to undertake a variety of events up to 2019, when he became a silver steward. During these periods, he has undertaken a number of state series steward roles and is currently the series steward for the New South Wales Motor Race Championship. In addition, there have been regular national stewarding roles and appointments in addition to regular commitments to state events. In 2016, Dennis was appointed to the New South Wales ACT Stewards Panel, and since 2017 to the present day has undertaken the role of Panel Secretary. In addition to the day-to-day secretarial requirements of the panel, he has also managed and ensured that the ongoing coordination of the state steward appointments are undertaken. At all times, Dennis Willis has displayed a strong commitment to Motorsport Australia and its values, as well as the consistent professional application of his duties in a number of voluntary roles and functions in supporting motorsport as an official. Let's hear from Dennis.
It is indeed an honour to receive the Motorsport Service Award for 2021. Thank you to all those who have supported my endeavours as a Motorsport Australia official over many years, both as a scrutineer and more recently a steward. To the New South Wales ACT Stewards Panel, my thanks for their support and opportunity to be their panel secretary for the past 5 years. It's not often you get recognition for what essentially is a labour of love. However, the countless hours spent officiating and supporting Motorsport Australia is really my reward, and especially considering the many good motorsport friends and colleagues are what has made the past 30 years so much more memorable. Thank you.
Congratulations, Dennis. Our next service award goes to Richard Setchfield. Richard Setchfield is synonymous with motorsport scrutineering within New South Wales and has been a mainstay at various levels of approximately 37 years. Working from being a scrutineer with the ARDC at Amaroo, Oran Park and Eastern Creek in the earlier days, through to being a gold steward and undertaking the role of chief scrutineer at the Bathurst 1000 over many years. Whether it be at club, state or national level, Richard gives 100% to his role to ensure the principles of scrutineering are professionally undertaken and applied at the events to which he is responsible. In 2017, Richard started to undertake stewarding as a bronze steward and has undertaken this role at state and national levels, and for the past 2 years has been the series steward for the New South Wales Super Sprint Championship. Richard also holds a bronze administration, event assessor and course presenter licence categories, and is renowned for his training and mentoring, particularly for new scrutineers.
Hello, my name's Richard Setchfield. I've won a Motorsport Australia Service Award. Firstly, I would like to thank my friends and associates for putting my name up for this award. It is a great honour and very humbling. Secondly, I would like to thank Motorsport Australia for promoting these awards. I think they're very good and should be continued for a long time to come. My career started in late 83, early 84 with the Australian Racing Drivers Club at Amaru Park, and progressed from there. We went to Oran Park, Sydney, Eastern Creek as it was back then. Had a lot of fun, met a lot of people, have achieved a lot over the years, and had some fun doing it, along with meeting quite a number of people that I still stay in touch with and look forward to catching up with at various motorsport events. Been a long time. Some good fun having along the way. Don't really know what else to say except it's been enjoyable. Not in a hurry to give it up, but would like to see some junior people getting involved. But other than that, it's been a wonderful experience, and I look forward to continuing it. Thank you.
Terrific job, Richard. It's now my pleasure to congratulate for the second time tonight our next service award winner, Gregory Muddle. Greg has been part of the Formula Race Cars Association Committee for 10 years and was a founding member. He's been involved with the New South Wales Motor Racing Council for many years and goes above and beyond his duties to better state motorsport. Greg is the absolute key to allowing the category to race. He is active as the competition secretary for both FRCA and on New South Wales Motor Race Council. Greg drops everything to answer calls, simply to help fellow competitors. Always puts the category first before his own racing. How he juggles full-time work with his committee and council duties and racing himself is quite the mystery. Greg's service to motorsport goes way above and beyond his outlined duties. Greg is selfless in his bid to allow motorsport to cater for all. Let's hear from Greg now.
My name's Greg Muddle and I'm the recipient of a Motorsport Australia Service Award. I'm honoured to receive it, indeed somewhat surprised, but I've spent 10 years working with the Formula Race Car Association. I love the category, I enjoy the people I race with, and I just want to see it grow and develop. In that vein, I serve on the New South Wales Motor Race panel with 10 other guys who are equally passionate about their categories and want to see the sport grow and develop in this state, and are always willing to provide advice and assistance when required. So I'd just like to shout out to those guys. Thanks, it's a privilege serving with you.
Thank you and congratulations again, Greg. The next Service Award recipient is William Bill Jones. Bill has been involved in motorsport most of his life. Bill and his brother raced a Morris Minor 1000 at Oran Park and hill climbs at Robertson and Bowral. Later in 1971, Bill joined the scrutineering team and volunteered at circuits including Warwick Farm, Catalina Park, Katoomba, Oran Park and Bathurst. Bill achieved his gold licence in 2010 and then successfully completed the training module for Event Assessor in 2015 and recently completed the Event Assessor Upgrade course. Bill has scrutineered for supercars as well as at national and state events as Chief Scrutineer and Deputy Chief at all these events. Bill is presently the New South Wales SAP Chairperson, and in this position He is passionate about keeping scrutineering active with the goal to introduce the next generation of scrutineers. Motorsport has been and still is a major interest in his life. Let's hear Bill's acceptance speech.
First of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Bill Jones. I have been given a service award from Motorsport Australia for my many years of service. I've been scrutineering since 1968 and still do so to this present day. I would like to thank Bob Hockley, who nominated me for this award, and really appreciate the thoughts that he put into it. Without the support of, firstly, my wife, Patty, and other people like Lance Smith, Norm Crompton, and David Healy, it would have been a harder journey. I would also like to thank, over the past few years, the manager of Motorsport Australia Technical, Scott McGrath, and also Ewan Cole, that have been a great deal of support to me to keep me going to where I am today. Today I still do scrutineering. I am the chairperson for the New South Wales Scrutineering Panel, and are very passionate about trying to keep younger people involved and volunteering for any role they can in Motorsport Australia. It gives me great pleasure to accept this award. Thank you very much.
Well done, Bill. Next up, congratulations, Elaine Nikiforoff. Elaine has held an official's licence since 1998 for event command, steward, event administration and timekeeper. She also holds event assessment endorsement and is a training course presenter. She has served on the New South Wales Off-Road panel and is currently on the scrutiny panel and the chair of the New South Wales officiating panel. She also served 3 years on the Australian Officiating Commission. She won the New South Wales State Official of the Year in 2015 and has always been active and willing to assist any club that needs an official at short notice. Besides serving as Minute Secretary for the Sydney Off-Road Racing Association for most of the time she has been a member, she also does the minutes for the New South Wales State Council and Executive for the past 10 years. Elaine, thank you for your service to Motorsport Australia and New South Wales Motorsport. Let's hear from Elaine now.
I would like to thank CAMS Motorsport Australia for providing me with the opportunity to join my family in a sport we all enjoy. It was in the early 90s that my son asked my husband and I to spectate as he started his career in the off-road world as a navigator, having just left school. He was joined by his sister and they encouraged us to become members and volunteers in the Sora Club. I volunteered in many roles: canteen, admin, timing, start line, and in 1997 did my first CAMS officials course to gain accreditation as an official. CAMS had made the decision that certain official roles had to be held by people that were not competing at that event. Obviously, as neither my husband or I had ever competed, we were ideal to carry out some of these roles, and so our long affiliation with motorsport was underway. I am now not only working as an official at off-road events, but in circuit, speed events, supercars and the AGP. I have been a course presenter now for at least 10 years and the chair of the New South Wales official panel, which means that I have met and hopefully helped many officials in their roles all over the state. Over the years, I have made many friends amongst competitors and officials in all walks of life and can truly say they are my motorsport family. COVID during the last 2 years has sadly presented many challenges to our sport, as with all areas of our lives, and some of our older officials have made the decision to limit or even withdraw from their roles due to the risks to their health. But I hope that 2022 will see a rejuvenation for us all and will be new people to join us as competitors and officials to improve the sport we all love. I especially want to thank my husband Nick and my family for their support. Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine. Moving on to our next Service Award recipient. Congratulations to Nicole Crowley. Nicole Crowley has been awarded the Motorsport Australia Service Award for her dedicated support of the running of the Thornlea Car Club. She joined the club in February 2005 and at the club elections in that year took on the job of club secretary. Every year since then, she has been an active member of the executive committee as secretary, publicity officer, official registrar, social secretary, and her greatest contribution has been as the Thornlea Car Club editor. Nicole was a keen motorcar competitor until her children were born and has won the club's Ladies Competition Award several times. She has improved the TCC magazine to make it one which I would consider the best club volunteered produced publications in Australia. This magazine is the thing that binds the Thornlea Car Club together. Throughout the COVID-19 shutdowns, when we were unable to compete, Nicole continued to produce a most informative monthly magazine for our members to enjoy. Nicole Crowley is a worthy recipient of this service award. Nicole has sent in this video.
I am completely surprised to be nominated for and to receive the Motorsport Australia Service Award for 2021. Looking through the names of past recipients, I didn't feel like I'd contributed enough to even be considered for the award. So I was actually waiting to be told the email of congratulations had been sent to the wrong Nicole. So I'm truly honoured and thankful to be receiving this. My dad actually signed me up to Thornlea Car Club in 2005 because he wanted me to find a new group of friends and told me I'd find my next boyfriend in a car club because there's lots of single guys in motorsport. I thought I'd spend a few years in club motorsport and then grow up, get married and start a family and leave all that behind, but I couldn't be more wrong. Within months, I was on the executive committee for Thornlea Car Club and have served multiple roles in the exec now for 15 years, with most of that time in the magazine editor role. What I didn't realise coming into motorsport is that I'd find my true home. I found a wonderful bunch of friends of all ages across multiple car clubs and disciplines, and of course, I found my boyfriend who I married. Andrew and I now have 2 beautiful children who are both completely eager to get started in motorsport. I gained my officials licence in my first year and officiated many events, including directing 2 motorcarners in a speed event each year. My focus is always on providing fun, enjoyable events, encouraging juniors and ladies to compete and encouraging passengers because motorsport is always better with friends. I love to watch drivers of all ages and varying experiences learn more about car control in both dry and wet conditions, especially competing in my grip and slip motorcarner, which then translates into better road safety in their daily lives. I also very much enjoy being the editor for Thornlea Car Club and have been told that our club is now one of the few clubs left still providing a member collated hard copy magazine. The massive photocopier actually sits right next to our dining table. I try to write articles most months and during COVID use this to help keep our members connected and to give them something to look forward to. Over the years, I've spent some time at the New South Wales officiating panel, directed a great number of social and competitive events and officiated many other events including gravel and tarmac rallies. For the last 2 years, I've been trying to get the minimum age for passengers, particularly in motorcarners, lowered to allow those under 12 to participate and develop a love of motorsport alongside their parents well before they are of age to compete. Whilst I haven't got there yet, I'm hoping this will be a watch this space, as I firmly believe this will allow families with younger children to be able to participate in grassroots motorsport more easily, rather than one or both parents missing out while looking after children who are old enough to sit in the front seat on public roads but can't participate in motorsport as a passenger in the same car that they travel to the event in. I have always felt that motorsport has given me so much more than I'll ever be able to give back. It has given me wonderful friends, a great husband, and a plethora of skills that I can use in everyday life. as well as being able to do a truly enjoyable passion. And whether it's behind the wheel, directing an event, or putting a magazine together, I get to do all of that with some incredible people. Finally, I just wanted to say thank you to my dad for signing me up all of those years ago, to my husband Andrew for giving me the encouragement and space to continue to be so involved, and to John and Jeff for the nomination. I am truly humbled to know that you feel that I'm worthy of this recognition. Thank you.
Well done, Nicole. And the last remaining Service Award winner for 2021 is Robert Learmonth. Robert is devoted to motorsport on all levels and was key in the establishment of Murwillumbah Sporting Car Club back in 2018 through his own contacts. With Motorsport Australia, he has produced a magnificent solo effort in building the sport. Robert was also key in establishing the Young Driver program, which he now holds the position of director for. He currently holds a scrutineer bronze level licence and volunteers as a scrutineer at major New South Wales events such as the Bathurst 12 Hour, Bathurst 6 Hour and Challenge Bathurst, a role he has done for 5 years.
Hi, I'm Robert Learmonth, currently the Competition Secretary of the Murwillumbah Sporting Car Club. In terms of background, just on 3 years ago, a group of like-minded individuals, old petrol heads, drawn from a variety of interests, identified a need for a club dedicated to motorsport. This was within the Tweed Shire. Hence, the Murwillumbah Sporting Car Club came into existence. Our weekends were our own. One of the major goals of this club, besides supporting regional and state motorsport through competition and supplying officials, identified a need to upskill young drivers, especially at the learner and P-plate level. The region has a high fatality and accident rate, particularly among this age group. Our Young Driver program, although in its infancy, has had real commitment shown from the Murwillumbah businesses, the wider community, state and federal governments and local secondary schools. Our training program is staffed by qualified volunteers from our club and from local secondary school teaching staff. It provides the opportunity for participants to become familiar with their vehicle from a technical aspect, learn advanced driver's training techniques, including skid pan handling, and to participate in motor carners at an entry level. The club now has over 40 members with over $30,000 in state, federal and local grants. All of these grants are targeted to support the Young Driver program. The club is now well placed in meeting its future goals. The MSCC is closely affiliated with Motorsport Australia in the coordination of all its activities. At the moment, we're striving to build up a core of qualified motorsport officials who will participate in local, regional and state events. Personally, I've been involved in motorsport at all levels over the past 50 years as a driver, club official and passionate follower of the sport. This has included involvement with the New South Wales Alfa Romeo Club, the Z Car Club of Queensland, and I have had the opportunity to officiate as a scrutineer at events including a 12-hour, 6-hour Challenge Bathurst, all at Mount Panorama, and other official duties at Morgan Park. I'm greatly humbled by this award as my achievements have been a product of a team effort throughout my involvement over the years in our sport. Above all, the award is another way to celebrate the greatest feature of our sport, the spirit of camaraderie of all those involved.
Well done to our Service Award winners and all those who nominated in 2021. Staying on the service theme, let's take the opportunity to announce tonight's final award, the 2021 State Official of the Year. So, without further ado, it's my pleasure to announce the 2021 State Official of the Year, Kate Eppelston. Kate Eppelston has been instrumental in building a strong and supportive community of dedicated officials at Wakefield Park Raceway. Kate's selfless dedication to motorsport is evident at every meeting she participates in. She has been the Chief Flag Marshal at Wakefield Park Raceway for over 10 years and has built up the dedicated group of officials from a low level. Kate also regularly works as a sector marshal at supercar events across New South Wales, Victoria and Queensland. Held in high regard as a mentor for officials, Kate encourages others to take on new roles and succeed in them. It is remarkable to see how Kate has nurtured, supported and grown officials at the grassroots level into senior roles across New South Wales and beyond. Kate ensures that all officials feel valued, welcomed and their contributions matter on the track. Awarded for building a caring, supportive environment where motorsport officials of all disciplines can develop, grow and thrive in their motorsport journeys. Now, if you've missed any of the awards this evening, I'm pleased to say that the awards ceremonies will be available to watch on demand anytime on the Motorsport Australia website or the Motorsport Australia YouTube channel. Both addresses are on your screen now. It's a very special thank you now to the entire team from Motorsport Australia behind the scenes here at Motorsport House that have helped put together tonight's event. As I said off the top of tonight's ceremony, they'll be working tirelessly to make sure that we can meet in person next year to celebrate the successes of 2022. It's been a huge year of motorsport in 2021. We're underway into 2022 and I can't wait to see what the rest of the year has in store for you all. Well, I've really appreciated the privilege of being your Master of Ceremonies tonight. Thank you one and all from everybody here at Motorsport Australia. We'll see you next year.
Thank you.